guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over an article titled, Women Have Made a Bad Ex-Boyfriend Database to Protect Each Other from Dating Dramas. And a big shout out to Andrew for sending me this story. And guys, a long story short, there's a new website out there to help protect the gals from these evil guys, which is called the Bad Ex-Boyfriend List. And essentially, this is a website that women can go to, and if they want to see if a guy they're interested in or a guy they're dating has a track record, they could enter his name in, and then you will see posts from exes or ex-girlfriends or girls that dated this guy and get to hear all this stuff about him. And when I saw this, I immediately had to laugh, thinking, gee, what could go wrong? How could this be abused? And what would happen if the situation was reversed? And a bunch of guys got together and created a website where men could list the awful things that ex-girlfriends and all could do. Because if a guy did that, all hell would break loose. You can imagine the effiness all over that one. And so this article is going to talk all about that. And then what I'm going to do is I went to the website, and of course I had to look up my name, and nobody posted anything about me, and to see what it was all about. So I'm going to read you some parts from the website that you'll definitely get a kick out of. But real quick before I go into this, let's think about the flaws here to this, okay? At worst, a woman can be, at best, say a gal's dating a guy, maybe he, texts her a bit too much, and she breaks up with him because she thinks he's kind of needy. Well, she could report this on there, put his name down, and report him, and somebody would interpret him just texting her as being a stalker, right? And by the way, guys, this thing, you are allowed to put someone's real name in there. And also on the site, you're going to see you can't put personal at things like where he works, his phone number, where he lives, the family, but doesn't mean that wouldn't happen anyway, amongst many other things. Or someone could have a relationship with a guy and he breaks up with her for a darn good reason, pick any number of reasons, but she decides to label him the bad guy and write all this awful stuff about him. And how is that website going to prove it's not true? Think about that. And that can impact him in his life. Maybe potential employers could see his name next to the thing. Who knows the number of problems there. Now, don't get me wrong. There are guys out there, the Chad and Tyrone. There are guys out there like Chad and Tyrone, the bad boys. There's some real scumbags out there that do pretty bad things and definitely girls should know if they're obviously abusive or whatever, but you can see the problems here. Right? And I'm not, again, denying there aren't bad guys out there, but the majority of guys that could be impacted by this really didn't do anything wrong. It's kind of like how a guy could be in the workplace and a gal likes him, a coworker, and he rejects her. And next thing you know, she's going to HR and saying some things, and his job's in jeopardy, and it does happen. Same thing could happen here. A guy couldn't even be dating a girl, and he rejects her, and there you go. His name's on the list, and all this stuff's made up because how are they going to prove it? But anyhow, I had to throw in a few scenarios there where I see problems. So I'm going to go through this article, then I'll get a little more deep from what I saw from the website. It says here, the creator of the list says this site is a place where you can report your ex-boyfriend for cheating on you or just being a jerk. Well, what's the definition of being a jerk? Come back to that later. A database has been created for scorned women to daub in their ex-boyfriends and rate their bad behavior. The Bad Ex-Boyfriend List is designed for U.S. women to protect each other from bad dating experiences and is part of a larger online community for women. This list contains names, cities, and states of men who have wronged women in the past and requests that women do not include phone numbers, emails, and home addresses in their entries. Yeah, sure. Each entry details instances of cheating, manipulation, abuses, and addictions, and is searchable. The site encourages women to look for their lovers to raise doubts or confirm concerns. Well, again, there are bad guys out there, and they can have all range of problems that certainly, I have a sister, and I have female cousins and all that, and I wouldn't want them to be with, well, they're all married, but you get my point. I wouldn't want a female loved one, to be with some guy that's abusive or drug problems, stuff like that. So, but the thing is, we all know darn well, given what I do here, given your own experiences, guys, how good guys can be completely just torn apart and they didn't do anything wrong, right? Or, again, the definition of bad behavior, right? Guy takes a girl on a date. He just wants to buy a drink, and all of a sudden he's being reported as a bad dater because he didn't take her out to Ruth Chris Steakhouse for a date. I know I'm exaggerating here, but you get my point. The creator of the list and its host website, Girl Power Girl Strong, Tracy Teigen, says the site is a place where you can report your ex-boyfriend for cheating on you or just being a jerk. Through this process that we have built, you can reveal the truth about him and save lives, she said. Who is fact-checking? Who's confirming what the girl types in is accurate? She can be making anything up. If there's nothing, then you're one of the lucky ones. But if you do end up finding anything related to him, you know your doubts were correct. The entries range from single sentences to small essays. Teigen says aside from warning others about potential dating risk, detailing the bad experiences themselves can be cathartic and empowering process. I was waiting for the empowering word to come in there. Teigen wrote in a Newsweek op-ed that the list has been compared to TripAdvisor because women are able to rate the men that they have been with based on how these men have treated them in relationships. Rate them? Again, if I were to go out there and hire some programmers and to create a website where guys like all you guys could go in there, how many of you guys out there watching this right now have ex-girlfriend or ex-wives that you'd like to put on a website like this to warn future guys? And what would happen? What would happen if I started a website like that? You know darn well what would happen. They'd come after me with torches and pitchforks. Maybe I'd be on CNN. I don't know. But if this is done for the guys, well, that's okay then. Mixed responses. While some are all for it, others are wary of harm and defamation should the limited details still offer a solid link to the subject. Right. One person says, this is absolutely abhorrent and is totally subjective and can do untold damage to a person based on just an opinion. This should be stopped immediately, one person wrote on Facebook. Correct. It's just somebody else's opinion and definition of a guy doing something wrong. Or, again, what if you had a married couple and she's cheating left and right, he finds out, divorces her, but to make things better for her divorce, she's going to say all these awful things about him, right? Another person says, I'm mixed on this. It might help other people see through their BS and save them from terrible heartache. There are serial users, both male and female, who consistently don't tell the truth and just want to use someone to make them feel better. For their own selfish reasons, another person wrote. Another guy says, it's not cool. There's three sides to every story. Hers, his, and the truth. One person wrote on Facebook. Correct. But for those of you who have been personally wronged, turning a blind eye to the problematic nature of the list appears to be much easier. One guy says, or I think this woman says, my ex was on one of those sites. I wish I would have had the warning. He screwed me over so financially, emotionally, and parentally. He almost took me down. Yes, other people deserve to be warned, one person wrote on Facebook. So I'm not denying there aren't bad guys out there, but I see so many good guys getting royally screwed over on this website. Now, I went to the website to check it out because I was very curious, and again, I put my name in there. My name isn't in there yet. But here's a breakdown of some of the details they have on the site I thought you guys would be interested. It's titled The Ex-Boyfriend's List, Get Your Ex Reported. And this is right on the top of the homepage. It says, we all have that jerk of an ex-boyfriend who we want to report. And luckily, you now have a place to do just that. This is your own very own bad boyfriend database. Or, as we like to call it, the ex-boyfriend list. The ex-boyfriend list, or the bad boyfriend database, the place where you can report your ex-boyfriend for cheating on you or just being a jerk. What? That's very subjective of the guy being a jerk. If you were being difficult and he called you out on it, or maybe a couple's getting into a fight in public, she's starting a big scene and being a big drama queen in public, and the guy walks away from her, well, then he's being a jerk in her opinion, amongst many other things. The truth of the matter is, we've all had a bad breakup. Okay, maybe a few of them in our lives, but that isn't what this is about. It says, what is the ex-boyfriend list? The ex-boyfriend list is also popularly known as the database designed for an evil ex. Evil, huh? This place is for all you women out there who were happily in love with a guy who didn't put enough and exploit you in ways you didn't realize you could ever be used for. How many guys out there have been, they thought they were happily in love and were taken advantage of, exploited, yada, yada, yada. And if they put a list on reporting their exes, their ex-wives or girlfriends, you all know what would happen. From ditching you to making you feel terrible about a small task, cheating and making you feel as if you're not enough, and even going as far as verbally and physically abusing you. You should know you are all strong individuals for having gone through what you did. This site and its purpose don't lie in the fact that we all have had a few bad breakups or seen someone in our lives and have them. It's beyond that. Now that you're finally out of the horrible mess and out of the relationship with your ex, you probably see him walk down the streets with another girl on his arm. And that doesn't stop you from wondering if he treats that new girl the same way he treated you. Probably more like, what? He's treating her well? I'll show him. Is he being overly sweet but hiding something behind his facade? Is he showing her the same patterns he showed you? See, if they can have a site to report guys, well, I think it's only fair that there could be a site for guys to report the awful gals. But who's more likely, honestly, to take the time and write a bunch of BS about someone? We all know who. This database is for you because through this process that we have built, you can reveal the truth about him and save lives. And since we spoke about how we are all about supporting women, this is an excellent start to this initiative. Wondering how it works? Well, read further to find out more regarding this exciting initiative. There are so many flaws to this. There are so many ways this thing can be abused because I don't think, like you type a name in, and it's going to say who is making this report. It could just be a random anonymous person saying all these things. The purpose of the ex-boyfriend list, this initiative is solely out there to help all those girlfriends who you've personally seen suffering, or for girls you do not wish to suffer at the hands of someone you know is capable enough. So revenge or making worthy and good men feel bad isn't why we have taken this initiative. We're all about a respectful man treating his woman how they deserve to be treated, but this list is out there serving those who are not doing what they are supposed to do. How many guys have been in relationships where they have treated their gal like the queen? They have been unbelievably good to her, did everything to try to make her happy. They were loving, supportive, loyal, all that, and they were treated awful. And those same gals will then dump those guys or cheat on them to go out with the bad boys that do a lot of things that this site is saying to protect and warn the girls about. Right? So, if you are someone who's planning to post about a guy with whom you had a bad experience, here's how you do it. But remember to follow the given rules below. So, I stopped there, and there are rules like I think you're not allowed to post personal information like where the dude lives, his phone number, his email, his place of employment, family members and all that. And you're not supposed to make things up. And okay, great, that's fine. But how are they going to police the part about what is accurate information and what's not? And again, you get a very fired up, pissed off gal. Maybe think about this. She was out out on a date with a guy. He didn't treat her the way she wanted to be treated. She knows his name. So she came home that night, drank a bunch in the middle of the night, and was drinking and typing. You see, there's just so many ways this thing can go wrong. But anyhow, there you go. That'd be entertaining for you guys to share with you guys in case you haven't heard this thing yet. So just you can follow the link because I'll post a link to this article and you can connect it to this website. Don't go hating on it or anything like that, but just letting you know about this, and you can see if you're on that list. So, all right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. If you happen to be on that list, let's hear about it. I'd really like to know about that in the comments section. And also, guys, you come across a good story you'd like to share or a good article, by all means, email it to me, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. Now, I can't promise I'll get to it because as time is going on, guys, like I said, I'm getting more and more emails of articles, crazy stories, personal stories, and I'd love to cover them all, but I simply just cannot cover them all. So I have to pick the very best ones. But I appreciate you guys sending it over to me, or if there's a good one, and I want to do it, but I've already done a bunch that are similar to that within a couple weeks, I might put on hold and do it down the road. So don't give up. If it's a really good one, just make it easy for me to read, to do, and all that, and I will certainly cover it if it's a really good one. And be sure to like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.